Hello dear friends, good afternoon. Today we shall take you to Australia, Queensland, where Geoff Dickinson, Ryan and Irfan Khan Khakwani is waiting for us. They have made so many videos on mango hedgerow system. We shall tell you how the hedgerow system in mango works and what is a trellis system and what's its management. So please come with us. जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम दोस्तों, आज हम आपको ऑस्ट्रेलिया का विज़िट करवाएंगे और वहाँ पर हम आपको बताएंगे कि वहाँ हमारे दोस्त हैं रियान, जेफ डिकिंसन और इरफान खान खाकवानी साहब। तो वो हमें बताएंगे कि वहाँ पर जो है ऑस्ट्रेलिया में मैंगो फार्मिंग कैसे हो रही है। वहाँ पर जो है टोटल हेजरो सिस्टम है, बाड़ और कतार का सिस्टम है, मीडियम डेंसिटी के वहाँ पर आर्चर्ड हैं और उन आर्चर्ड की जो मैनेजमेंट है वो बहुत खूबसूरत तरीके से करते हैं। वहाँ पर एक ट्रेलिस सिस्टम है। ट्रेलिस सिस्टम में जो है वो पौधों को मजबूती से बांध दिया जाता है। तो हम पाकिस्तान में देखेंगे कि हमें किस जगह पर ये वाला सिस्टम रिक्वायर्ड है। तो हमें जैसे डेजर्ट का एरिया है जहाँ पर साइक्लोन भी आते हैं, बहुत तेज़ हवा भी चलती है, और इसके साथ साथ जो हमारा कोस्टल साइड है जैसे समुंदर के करीब एरिया है जहाँ पर ज़्यादा तेज़ हवाएं चलती हैं, तो वहाँ पर हम अगर पौधों को पिलर लगाकर ये मैंगो स्मार्ट टी सिस्टम को उन पिलर्स के साथ और ट्रेलिस सिस्टम में बांध दें तो वो फिर हम जो है उसको ज़्यादा अच्छे तरीके से उसकी मैनेजमेंट कर सकते हैं और पौधों का नुकसान जो है वो बहुत कम होगा। ट्रेलिस सिस्टम जो तकरीबन अगर 10 फुट की हाइट है तो उसमें 6 जो हैं वो वायर जो हैं वो ऊपर नीचे लगती हैं। इसी तरीके से जो पिलर होता है उसका भी आई थिंक कि जो 12 मीटर का फासला होता है, हर 12 मीटर के फासले पर जो है एक पिलर होता है और उसके साथ जो है ना इन पौधों को बांधा जाता है। ऑस्ट्रेलिया में जो है अब पहले मीडियम डेंसिटी में थे, फिर हाई डेंसिटी में गए, अब अल्ट्रा हाई डेंसिटी में भी वहाँ पर प्लांटेशन हो रही है और तमाम प्लांटेशन जो है वो कामयाब है। और उनका जो सिस्टम है वो थिन हैज या स्लिम हैज है कि वो 1 मीटर से ज़्यादा जो पौधा जो है उसको अपने उससे बाहर निकलने नहीं देते, और हाइट जो है वो 2.8 मीटर से लेके और वो 3 मीटर या 3 मीटर से प्लस माइनस यानी 10 फुट के अंदर अंदर रखते हैं। और ये 25 से 30 साल और कुछ जो आर्चर्ड्स हैं मरीबा में और क्वींसलैंड में वो 40-40 साल पुराने भी हैं, लेकिन उनकी फ्रूटिंग जो पहले चंद सालों में थी वो ही फ्रूटिंग जो है वो आज भी ले रहे हैं, यानी उनकी प्रोडक्शन में कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ा है। तो इसलिए अगर हम हेजरो सिस्टम में जाते हैं तो पाकिस्तान में भी हमारा फ्यूचर जो है वो हेजरो सिस्टम है। आए देखते हैं रियान क्या बातें हमें बता रहे हैं, जेफ डिकिंसन हमें क्या बता रहे हैं, और इरफान खाकवानी जो हैं जिन्होंने जाके ये मेरे लिए ख़ास तौर पर एक एफ़र्ट की है। तो आए देखते हैं। थैंक यू वेरी मच। खुदा हाफिज़।
Which been asked me to ask you. It's one of few varieties we have that one year they give like a plant fruit and next year they don't, and then following year they do that. How to work on those ones? What to do so they can give it every year? Is it their way?
Yeah. So that's one of the big questions here as well.
Oh really? Oh okay.
We don't so much. So there's 2 different but related things. There's sort of biennial bearing, which is more of a one big year, small year, big year, small year, and that it follows regularly.
Yeah.
And then what happens here is more of an irregular bearing, where you sort of have a big year, small year, a bit of a medium year, then maybe a big one. So it's not as predictable. The primary thought is it's related to sort of environmental phenomenon, like temperature triggers and precipitation, and then also related to things like carbohydrate availability in the plants.
Yeah.
So that when you have a really big year, the following year there may not be those carbohydrate reserves for the plant to draw on to have as much flowering and fruiting and all that sort of stuff.
Sure.
So this is a question we're definitely struggling to address as well here.
Okay.
Does seem to be variety related as well. Some varieties,
Yes.
our main variety is Kensington Pride,
Yeah.
and that is highly susceptible to biennial bearing, whereas probably some of the newer varieties like Calypso are
Okay.
less prone to biennial bearing, so they tend to have a
Seems to be pretty consistent.
consistent crops.
Sure.
And things like Keat are pretty consistent as well, I
Yeah,
think.
but then that's right. But then they have some bad environmental conditions, and you still have a bad year.
Sure.
So it's sort of a combination of different factors, it appears to me.
I was watching one video, and it's saying that because the stick where the fruit stands on, that if you will take that stick off after that whole stick, and that will help you next year. I don't know. It might be the case or not.
So, I mean, it probably depends on a couple things more than just that. So we have to do these big prunes to,
Yeah.
manage the size of the trees.
Yes.
Right? So we chop it off there, and then this regrows.
Yeah.
If we only did that, say, a month before the tree wanted to flower,
Yeah.
it would have just shot out this big bunch of new growth, and it probably wouldn't have had time to get ready to flower.
Okay.
So it can be about timing between your pruning and your flowering. It can be about how much of that available nutrition was used up in the previous year for fruit.
Sure.
It can be about how much vigor has been put out, how much growth,
Yeah.
new growth, because that draws on the reserves of the trees as well.
Sure.
And then it can be things such as if it got cold enough or not to trigger flowering.
Yeah.
That's potentially one of the issues in parts of Australia in the future with climate change, is that if it becomes warmer and the trees are dependent on a minimum temperature for flowering, there may be areas in the world that have less intense flowering. I don't want to say anything that would be too controversial. But you got the video on there.
No, that's fine. That's fine. These videos are just for
Sure.
in a friends, not
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
going on a official somewhere. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
Just don't
sharing
put
with
it
the friends.
on the internet and
No,
stuff
no,
like that.
no. It's your all the words you're marking. It's not
Sure.
not official thing.
Yeah.
It's not nothing official.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So that is.
But yeah, I mean, these are issues we're dealing
Yeah,
with as
yeah.
well, right?
6 meters between rows,
Okay, 6 meters between rows. Yep.
3 meters between trees,
Okay.
and as Ryan said, this was a trial looking at different rootstocks
Okay.
and a couple of different scions on the top, different varieties.
Yeah.
We looked at I think 97 different varieties from our gene pool
Okay.
for the. Do you know about rootstock and scion?
Yeah, I know rootstock is
The bottom half of the
Yes,
tree,
and
basically.
exactly.
So we were looking at different rootstocks that would enable the trees to be smaller and more productive,
Okay.
essentially. So this trial ran for 7 years.
Yeah.
Looking at that, and
Yeah.
then Geoff's taken over.
Sure. So which rootstock you use, Jeff?
Generally, Kensington Pride.
Kensington Pride
It's our
rootstock.
most popular variety. There's a lot of seed available.
Yeah.
And it's polyembryonic, so you can grow true to type from seed.
Yeah.
It's very consistent,
Okay.
but it is vigorous. It's a
Okay.
vigorous rootstock, and that's
Yeah.
why we're looking at alternatives which maybe can reduce the vigor of the top scion part.
Okay. So with the Kensington Pride, you can get the same plant going, or you have to graft after certain time.
Yeah.
Even for because we, as you know, that rootstock,
Yeah.
we can't get the same plant.
Okay. So your seed doesn't grow true to type.
No.
For us, Kensington Pride does.
Oh, it does. Okay.
And that's some of the work that Ryan's looking at here with new roots, alternative rootstocks.
Yeah.
It's ones that can be grown true to type from seed. That's the
Okay.
difference. But even so, that's got a lot of issues in the early days, and even investigating cuttings possibly as a method to produce rootstocks. But it's a little bit more of a long game, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, one of the next trial we're running that's sort of going to build on this with our most promising rootstocks. One of the challenges we had was just even sourcing enough seed,
Yeah.
because generally we only have 1 or 2 trees from each of the different varieties. And some of them, as Geoff said, with the Indian varieties, Pakistani varieties, they don't fruit very well here.
Yeah.
So if you only have 30 fruit,
Yeah.
that's all the seed you have. You can't grow very many rootstocks from that. So, and we only have half the varieties that are true to type from
Okay.
seed. So we're really interested in trying to see if we'd be able to propagate through cuttings or some other way to try and open up those different varieties as rootstocks.
Sure.
Yeah. So with this hedging trial,
Yeah.
basically what we've done is taken this larger piece of trees and grown quite wide.
Okay.
They're probably out to about here.
Okay.
And yeah, and we're finding some of our growers, our mango growers, are experimenting as well.
Okay.
And there's been some quite successful plantings of R2E2
Okay.
at a similar spacing, so 6 metres by 3 metres.
Okay. 6 meters by 3 meters. Okay.
And then what they're doing is probably the big question mark now for growers is how wide do you allow the tree to grow? And traditionally, mango trees grow very wide, and because of the vigour,
Yeah.
because they're wide spaced, but also because most farmers think of mangoes as really big trees, and it's a real mindset change about whether you can grow a mango as a thin hedge. But we're finding in some of the experiments that they are 20, 25-year-old orchards are still very high yielding, grown as a thin hedge. So with this block, what we decided to do was just because it was quite wide, we've cut them back.
Yeah.
So this was cut back to 1.8 metres wide
Okay.
with the hedging machine.
Sure.
1.8.
1.8
Because it was our
meters.
first major cut.
Yep. Sure.
So in the next year, we'll cut it back to 2 metres.
Okay. 2 meters.
So that'll be
Yeah.
2
See,
metres.
it went through some pretty decent sized branches.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And did a little bit of damage.
Yeah.
A few bigger branches were ripped off.
So it's a the wild plant is a 2 meters from one end to the second end, right?
From this side all
Yeah.
the way to the other side.
Okay.
Which I think is actually a very, I think it's got quite likelihood of a success.
Sure.
There's quite a lot of structure in there, and I think we've got a crop
Sure.
this year.
Yeah.
But the next stage was
Yeah.
to go even narrow.
Yeah.
See that?
Yes.
So that's half the
Half the size.
canopy volume.
Yeah.
Still the same height.
Yeah.
And they've come back quite well as well. And the fact that we've had success in that high density there with very narrow hedges.
Okay. And how much is the?
Like, it was extreme. Like what they did is
Yes.
pretty extreme cutting back of the
Yes.
trees, but they
Sure.
grow so strongly.
Sure.
So like all this growth is once again 2 months.
So how wild the ultra density that will go to like how wild they can go? How many meters? Like
What about your trial ones? What's your
Yeah.
width?
On high density.
yeah.
What do we end up with there? Probably about, I think it's 0.8, 0.6 off of the center. So it's
From
probably
one
about
end to other end.
4 meters or so across at full growth, I think.
Okay, but
I
it's
did.
getting cut back to about.
Oh, we cut it back to about 0.8.
Yeah.
Something like
0.8.
that. The trellis, I think, is 0.8. The high density hedge is 1 meter, I think, something like
So
that.
similar to what.
So about this, yeah.
So both end is like one end to another end is like 1 meter, or you said 2 meters?
So
like
this width.
yeah.
Geoff got these look back 1 meter this way.
Yeah, 1 meter. Yeah.
Which is the same as the non-trellised high density.
Okay. Okay.
It's
Sure.
pretty close.
But
Sure.
because this was a trial that we changed,
Yeah.
we had all these issues with the big branches.
Okay.
We've been treating this as 1 meter widths since
Yeah.
they were small trees.
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't have had all these big branches lost. We would
Okay.
we would have a
If you
much
look
better
at this
structure.
over
No,
here,
okay,
You see some of the
okay.
challenges, like there's one
Yeah.
over here.
But I think these will come from experience with the 9-year-old trial.
Sure.
These trees will fill in those gaps now that we've set them up.
Sure.
So
So what's again? How much is the distance between tree to tree? Is
3 meters.
3 meters. Okay,
and
and
6 meters.
6 meters. Okay.
I think
3
this
and
is-
6.
I think
Yeah.
this, for new plantations, I think this is probably the the way forward.
3
for
and
Australian
6.
mangoes.
Okay.
And we're looking for trees. These were cut back to 2.5, I think.
2.5. Okay. So the height is 2.5. Yeah. 2.5 is meter is the height, and 3 meter is between plant to plant, and 6 meter is between the row.
So these narrower hedges,
Yeah.
we were restricted by what we had.
Yeah.
If you're only going to grow trees a metre wide,
Meter wide. Yeah.
well, we probably don't need 6 metres between
Yeah.
rows.
Oh,
we could
okay.
probably do 4 metres.
4
Or
meters.
5 metres.
5
Well,
meters.
if you had 4 meters, that's what we have with the high density hedge.
Okay, 4 meters. Okay.
That is giving a few headaches for the equipment that we have.
Yes.
But I think if you had 1 metre, you could easily go to 5 metres.
Exactly.
And that makes some big differences when you talk about it's a numbers game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Suddenly you get an extra couple of hundred trees per hectare.
Yeah.
Yeah, 15% more trees.
Yeah. 15% more trees.
And
Okay.
it tends to work that way.
Yes.
Because it's the light efficiency for the whole orchard.
Yeah.
There is wasted light.
Hmm.
Yeah, what we found is that, as we said earlier, it's basically the spacing is limited by machinery
Yes.
and people's perception of how big an area.
Yeah.
So if you can get over that machinery hurdle,
Yeah.
you really don't need this big area in the middle to grow so much grass.
Sure. So
Common across the world.
yes, absolutely. And which trellis, like which plantation, is the best one and the most successful so far? Is it
In our trial or
yeah
more broadly?
in your Broadway and in your trial, and which one you are finding is the most like successful with the fruit wise and
So
with
the highest yields so far have been coming off our high density trellis.
Okay.
So over the years, Geoff probably knows more about this because he's been with that for longer than I have.
Yeah.
But in the early years, the productivity out of the high density planting is much greater
Okay.
because you have, you think of like that low density system.
Yes.
You've got these big spaces between the trees that aren't producing anything. When
Okay.
your trees are only this big,
Yeah.
there's none of that area that's covered in tree. In the high density area, you have a tree every 2 meters, so you only have, say, half the area as gaps, even when the trees are small. So you get much higher early yields out of the high density planting,
Yes.
and particularly the trellis systems seem to perform well then.
And in high density, what is the number you have, like in per hectare? How many?
So that one's 1,250 trees per hectare.
Okay, still less than what we have.
Yeah, probably.
We have a
It sounds like-
1,300 per
yeah, which
acre.
is pretty high density.
Yeah, it's actually there is a one person came from South Africa.
Yep.
I don't know what was his name. He's a very popular there. He actually started that. I didn't see from in a South Africa small tree system. So he was there and he recommended that.
Yep.
I don't know his name. He's coming. They were trying to get him again.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I know, like I read one paper where they talked about mangoes being planted up to 3,000 trees per hectare, but that's
That's
crazy to me. So
Yeah.
I can't imagine you must be doing stuff without machinery then.
yes.
Just to have
Yeah. So what spacing was your
Um,
rows and
I think it's between a plant to plant is 3 feet, and that is 10 feet. This row distance is 10, and plant to plant is 3.
so you would have tractors going in there?
Yeah, I mean our orchard is. I will show you the video later. It's not that high. I mean now it's getting about that high. Yeah, but
how
some.
tall are they planning on building it?
We will be going maximum to this height, probably in 8 feet. That's maximum.
Yeah, that's sort of what we've been talking about. It'd be nice
Yes.
to do because then you can still pick from the ground.
Exactly.
You
Even
don't
though
need to be on ladders and that sort of stuff.
we don't have much labor issues
Yeah.
with when it's come to the mangoes, but we have a labor issues now starting. But it will be happening in the future, like Australia. Things are going very high because the industry is coming. So we
So our project that has run all this, has mangoes, avocados, macadamias, citrus, and almonds
Okay.
in it. So we're all doing similar things.
Okay.
And one thing they've learned in the avocados is it's very difficult to control vigor.
Okay.
So the high density has been very challenging for avocados
Okay.
because they grow so big.
So big. Okay. And how many plants per acre for that one?
They've done similar planting densities this year, but the high density has been very unsuccessful.
Okay. So don't go for.
That's
Okay.
sort of what they're sort of concluding.
Okay.
That density planting, I think, within the first couple of years, the productivity of the trees declined
Yeah.
because they weren't getting enough light and there was too much competition between trees.
Mm-hmm.
So I think their next trial, they're aiming for 6x3 meters or 6x4.
6 by
6 by
4.
3, I think. It was.
Okay, 6 by
So this
3.
spacing
Yeah.
That's the
Okay.
lowest.
as their highest density.
Okay. Okay. 6 by 3. Okay.
But you never know. I mean, in the way you guys grow stuff, maybe you'll have more success with controlling vigor.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
That's
so-
interesting. Very, very nice. Very nice. Sure.
Interested to see how this one goes, and
Yeah.
hey, there's a bit of variation here, but I think we'll get some good ideas from it.
Yeah. Sure.
A bit of a surprise, isn't it? Mangoes, they're so vigorous, aren't they? Compete them really harshly, and
Sure. So what height, you keep the height of the plant in this stage, you don't let them grow more higher than that?
So we have a big automated pruner that comes in. I
Okay.
don't know if you've ever seen those.
Oh, that
Big
I
ones
have
with the
seen, yes,
spinning
I have
blades
seen
and stuff.
those there. They're
Yeah.
starting in Pakistan too, that ones, yeah.
So they come through and they do the tops at 2.8 meters.
2.8 meters is the maximum. Okay,
Yeah,
you
so
can
that's what
go.
we're doing at the moment. We'll
Okay.
probably allow it to go up to 3 meters.
3 meters. Okay. Okay.
Because that would be then the same height as the trellis.
Okay,
So
okay.
it makes for a nice comparison.
3 meters. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No
Um,
worries.
but yeah, we sort of vary it depending on how big the trees are. We don't want to hit them too hard, but we want to sort of keep them in a certain
Sure.
shape.
So it comes down to a number of factors when you're deciding on the dimensions for the orchard,
Yeah.
and probably the first one is tree height.
Yeah.
So in Australia now, because of labour,
Yes.
and we use harvest aids where we pick into a machine that has the mango wash.
Okay. Yeah. I have seen that machine. Yeah.
So
Exactly.
basically, I'll just do. So most of the harvesting is either done quickly by hand,
Yeah.
or probably at the most. This isn't it, but like a short picking stick, maybe
Yeah.
about this length.
Yeah.
They can just go like
Exactly.
that.
Exactly.
Not
Exactly.
These
Not
huge.
Not huge. You have seen the plants there.
Well, there's some people with the old Kensington Prides who do that still.
Yeah.
And, you know, what are they called? The cherry pickers.
Yes.
Where they're up on the things and stuff, but it's just so slow.
So slow.
So
Okay.
expensive.
Mm-hmm.
2, 3, 4 times more expensive to pick.
Pick. Yes.
And also
Exactly.
the bigger the tree, the more difficult it is to get spray penetration.
Exactly.
So these
Exactly.
narrow canopies, it's much more efficient
Mhm.
and effective.
We
Yeah.
actually have to spray our high density systems considerably less often
Or less often. Okay. Because
than
of.
these ones because we just don't have the same amount of pest damage.
Okay.
So there's
Nice.
a bit of a saving there and some of that pest
Yes.
management as well.
Mm-hmm. Had a mango there.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have no idea how nice it is. I wish there is one guy. He gets some mangoes over here in Sydney, but I love to send you over here, but I don't know how to do that because I send it to somebody in Brisbane. And by the time they get there, they were no good. But he needed the seeds, so
Shipping times pretty
yeah,
long, I imagine.
yes.
Oh, that's okay. We'll just have to come to a visit to Pakistan.
Yeah. Why not? Why not?
Yeah,
Please,
can't send
most
the mangoes to
welcome.
us, send us to the mangoes.
Yeah.
We do have a mango gene pool here at Walkman.
Okay.
We have a number of the Pakistani varieties here.
Yes.
They don't seem to have been fruiting very heavily lately, and Indian varieties.
Yeah.
So, but we do have, Alfonso and
Yeah.
and Sindri and
Sindri and
some
okay.
of those varieties. So.
Yeah. Did you bring any mangoes from Pakistan to have a commercial varieties here as well?
They've been very successful.
Yeah.
There's an Indian group looking at Alfonso here at
Yeah.
North Queensland,
Yeah.
but they don't seem to have been performing that well as far as yield.
Hmm.
Might be because we're a bit
Yes.
The climate might be a little bit different to what they're used to.
Yes. Yes.
It has
Thing is, we don't have an infrastructure for this type of plantation at all. So our infrastructure, the machinery, we have already a small
or it's manual.
yeah, and it's manual, and we have small tractors, which are probably like medium size. I would say very small, medium sizes. So they are, they are very easy to manage. We don't have one of those the big ones,
Big Australian,
Yeah,
American
big-
tractors.
Exactly,
Yeah,
American
but ours
tractors.
are sort of. We've got some that are sort of medium.
Okay.
The Espalier as well. You can see the
Espalier, yeah,
central
that
trunk
is the
going
one.
up,
Yeah,
and then the branches bend laterally across.
yes. There's one mango still there.
Oh, is there fruit on there still? Jeez, even pruning. The keats are so hard to see.
I think these trees look really well set up, Ryan, for next flowering.
We could probably sell that fruit, hey Jeff?
Oh, that'd be $10.
This late in the season.
What variety is it?
And keep. And so this is our 1, 2, 4, 3s.
Okay.
Oh no, this is Calypso actually.
Okay, so let's
So this is one of the main commercial varieties, and then we have Keat, which is it's a late harvesting variety, and it's quite different than the other two. Just watch out for the
yeah.
it's quite different than the other two in terms of its ability to bear lots of fruit,
Sure.
and its leaves are very green, and it's a late
Yeah.
producer, so that's why we included those.
Amazing facility. Oh.
So this is another trial that Jeff will tell you about here, where they've been retrofitting one
Okay.
of our other trials, testing out passenger trees without baskets. These 2 meters don't even look like you did anything to them, Jeff. Yeah. Could have gone harder. And
Okay.
that sort of stuff. So if
Yeah.
we're doing particularly important measurements, it's nice to have very precise data
Okay.
for some of our research.
Okay.
So when we're doing things like spraying trials and stuff
Yeah.
like that, if you're worried about spraying spread,
Yes.
it's very important to know the exact wind speed.
Okay.
So it's just nice to have one in this country.
Sure.
There is also a weather station at the front though when we come in, so
Yeah.
we've got lots of information, but it's
Sure. Oh, yeah, wind
yeah, it's obviously
in our environment. Is trellis system is a good to have, or because we don't get that much wind, we probably get once in a blue moon, but that if that height, I don't think so that is gonna be much damage to
For mangoes, probably
Yeah.
the trellis is less important for wind protection.
okay.
It's more the exotic fruits like
Yes.
rambutan's or durians
Yes.
on the coast,
Okay.
and probably as they're small trees as well.
Okay.
So the value of the trellis system
Yes.
is providing that wire structure so that we can actually make the tree branches grow exactly where we want them.
Okay.
Whereas without the trellis,
Yeah.
it's a little bit more random.
Yes.
However, it's a balancing act, and that's a lot of cost
Yes.
for putting the trellis.
Yes.
Whereas if you're planting them at 3 meters,
Yeah.
we're probably finding that just naturally the branches tend to grow where they should grow.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably think that maybe trellis is not the
Not-
way to go at the moment.
Yeah. Exactly.
Until we get more vigor reducing rootstocks and different varieties.
Sure. Sure.
I think a well managed high density hedge system,
Hedge system.
like what
yeah.
we're trying to do over on that other block,
Okay.
is
okay.
probably definitely the way to go at the moment.
Sure.
So-
Sure.
And of course, you
Yeah.
could do some training. I
Yeah.
can find the high density.
Sure.
Hey, Addy.
Hello. Hello, guys.
What a trellis gives you is that wire structure to
Yes.
get the branches. But here we find
Yes.
it's got a pretty good structure already,
Sure.
because these are 2 meters apart. which is
Okay.
quite
2
close.
meters apart. Yeah.
So if you had them 3 meters, it might not be quite so even,
Sure.
but not too bad.
Okay.
You can always do some. You could use some string or something to bring branches down.
Yeah.
Or,
Sure.
grow, just by tying string,
Sure.
rather than going for all the poles and the wires.
Okay, sure.
And it's quite a complex pruning
Yes.
technique. So
Yes.
you need training of your staff to
Yes.
do trellising.
Yes.
Whereas these are probably more normal,
Sure.
conventional sort of pruning methods.
And which method that this one is? Which
it's
one?
just a high density, non-trellis.
Non-trellis. And what is the plant-to-plant distance? Is
2 meters.
2 meters?
Yep.
Okay,
But
2
we're
meters.
Probably, as we're saying,
Yeah.
probably 3 meters
Yeah.
is okay.
Oh, 3 meters is okay. Yeah.
Wouldn't go any wider than any more than 3
Okay,
meters.
yeah,
Because then you
sure.
get too many gaps.
Yeah.
So that's 4 meters.
Okay,
There's
yeah,
just
yeah.
Too much wasted space.
Waste, okay. So 3 meters is good. 3 to 6. Okay.
3 to 6 is a good
And-
number, but
yeah.
maybe in Pakistan, 3 by 5. would
Yeah,
be
3 by 5.
yeah.
Exactly. Because we have a small machines.
Small
Yes.
machines, yeah.
Yeah,
This,
no.
this
3.
one is 3 by 4.
Okay, 3 by 4. I think that's I think 3 by 4 is enough.
Yeah.
Because that's what the tractor size is.
You've got the small tractors.
Exactly. We have a small tractors. We don't have like a big one. So 3 by 4 and the height is 3 again.
And,
Yeah.
and what's your irrigation system? Is it flood irrigation or sprinklers?
We are going in a boat. We have a flood irrigation mostly.
Yep.
Mostly a landlord has, or agriculture people have. But there is a lot of subsidy going on our that drip irrigation. So
Okay.
we will be transferring eventually because you can't go with 1,000 of plants with the flood irrigation.
Yeah, it's too difficult.
Yes, it is. It is. So we are working on that. A lot of people has already started a drip irrigation.
Okay.
And we did not, but we have a plan. Next project is to go in a drip irrigation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we've got both types here.
Yes.
So you got the drip in this system, and
Yeah.
then over here we have the micro sprinklers.
Okay, micro sprinklers one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So which one you recommend is the more successful?
They both have
They both have the
their advantages.
same.
Yeah. That's probably still the most popular method. Is
Okay.
the sprinkler.
Sprinkler one. Okay. And this is a sprinkler one. Okay, this one, huh?
But there are some growers going to the drippers.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Nice. Sure.
But in terms of the trellis stuff, it's primarily single leader, so one trunk up the center.
Yeah.
and one divider.
Sure.
And then we've also looked at high density without a trellis, similar
Sure.
to what we have over here.
Sure.
Or a bit of example of Espalier method.
Yeah. So part of the Espalier system, which is the branches down, is what Zach and our
Yeah.
team member Abby are doing at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So they're after pruning and after the first flushes harden off, then they bend them back down to the wire to
Yes.
grow laterally.
Okay.
instead of doing a
So
scratch.
how successful? Because I have seen that on peaches and apricot and plums, it is very successful with that, with the stone fruits. But what about same with the mango? It is going well, or it's just
I know, well, early stages it has been going well.
I
okay?
was going to say, I think in terms of understanding it and trialing it, we're
Yeah.
behind those guys. So they've been maybe working on those systems for 30 or 40 years, whereas
Yes.
this trial's, I think, 9 years old now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're still figuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it seems to be going quite well so far.
Yeah.
One of the most interesting comparisons in my view is actually comparing the high density trellis to the high density hedge, which we have over here.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. And may I ask, what is the height size of that? It's look like a 9 feet or 12
So
feet?
the top wire is, hey Zach, is the top wire 3 meters or 3.5?
3.5.
So the top wire is 3.5 meters.
3.5.
And
So
we're bringing it up to the top wire,
Yeah.
bending it along the top.
okay. And so each wire is like almost a 70,
Yeah, it's about 50 centimeters.
50 centimeter. Okay.
Oh no, it's 3.
50 to 253. Yeah, the top one's 3.
Top one is
Each wire
3.
is 50 centimeters. And
Okay, 57 centimeter and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
6 wires, and all the pole is about a 4 meter, nearly a 3.5 meter, 4 meter.
Yes, whatever that is, 3.4 meters maybe for the height.
Sure. And the distance between pole is 1, 2. Okay.
So the trees
One.
in this one are planted at 2 meter
2 meters, okay, apart, huh?
So it's 2 meters between
Yeah,
there and there.
2 meters and
And then 4 meters between the rows.
4 meters between the rows, and
So that gives us a planting density of 1,250 trees per hectare.
sorry, 1,000?
250 trees per hectare.
Okay, 1,250 trees per hectare. Okay. And the pole distance is like, one second.
I'm not sure what the distance between these
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 step nearly. Okay.
I'd say probably about 12 meters.
12 meters. Yeah.
But this was more just based on our trial design than any sort of optimum spacing for the poles.
Sure.
So this is our untrellised
Okay.
system.
Okay.
This is a technically a guardrail, so we just have
Yeah,
to
sure.
a better example over here.
Yeah.
So this is trying to have a higher density, but in more of a traditional hedging system.
Yes. Yes.
So there's less infrastructure cost with this, and a little bit less maintenance cost as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. Okay.
But you're offsetting that against the potential for higher yields, maybe out of a trellis system.
Okay.
And then there's benefits in terms of things like wind resistance and
Yeah.
potentially greater light penetration and that sort of stuff.
Sure. We don't have a very big wind issue there, but we get it now and then. But of course, that the production is better in trellis system, I believe, than a per acre. Than this, that way it is quite attractive to have that
And the fact
one.
you've got quite short trees anyway
Yes.
makes them very tolerant
Yes.
of wind.
Yes.
They've got that protection.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we're in a bit of
Yes.
a wind
Exactly,
hazard
wind,
zone
wind.
with cyclones and stuff potentially coming through. obviously.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
there is a potential benefit from that. But I mean, trellising is even more beneficial if for other crops that would be on the coast or something like that.
Did you
Yeah.
go to which farm did you go to yesterday? Was it Peter Solaris?
And Peter Solaris has actually recommended me
Yeah.
to visit one lady, and her name was Robin. And then she actually suggested me to go to some lady called Jody and Mark.
Okay.
So, and I went to their house. It was about 4 or 5 acre
Yeah.
of a big house, and they have all the trellis system
Yep.
with all the lychees, rambutan,
Yep.
different exotic fruits.
That's right.
And it was amazing setup. It was very well organized.
Okay.
And then I went to Robin and I bought it from rambutan and mangosteen. So I got seeds for them, just saving them. It's very cheap actually. Like rambutan, you get in Sydney $55 a kilo.
Holy crap!
Yes,
Really?
that's what you get exactly.
God.
And I got it for
Across here you have what's called a medium density planting.
okay, medium, and
So this is 4 meter spacings between the trees.
4 meter.
And
Okay,
6 meters between the rows.
okay,
So this is a planting density of 416 trees per hectare.
416. Okay,
Yeah,
per
so
hectare.
about
Okay,
1/3 as many trees in this setup
Sure.
as in this one.
sure.
And then we've tried 2 different things in the medium density here.
Yeah, sure.
So these ones you can see are a little bit of a strange shape.
Yeah. Okay.
What we've done here is we've really created different layers
Yeah.
within the canopy.
Yep.
So we've actually created that same sort of idea of a central leader, central
Yeah.
trunk going out,
Yep.
and removed a section in the middle of any branches to try and
Okay.
allow greater light penetration.
Sure.
This was mainly just an academic research thing to see
Okay.
how light changes would work in trees.
Sure. So
It's
this.
not really that beneficial in terms of production.
Mm-hmm.
And I certainly wouldn't recommend people take it up because it's a lot of work.
Okay, it's a lot of work.
But
And
these
this
are
is
our
a
more traditionally managed medium
Okay.
density.
So what is the plant to plant distance in this
So
style?
this is 4 meters between the trees
4 meters. Yeah.
and 6 meters between the rows.
Okay, 6 meters. And 200 and how many in per hectare?
416 trees per hectare in this one.
416 trees per hectare. Okay,
And our low density, which is over here,
sure.
This is why this is a nice little section of the orchard, because you see all the different treatments in one area.
Sure.
So around over here,
Yeah.
this is our lowest planting density,
Okay.
which is 208 trees per hectare.
208 trees per
So
hectare.
you go from this one,
Yeah.
and then you go to the medium, and it's twice as many
Yeah.
trees in the medium.
Yeah.
And then when you go into high density,
Yep.
it's 3 times as many trees again.
Okay. And
6 times as many trees in the high density as in the low.
sure.
And these ones are, 6 meters between trees and 8 meters between rows.
Sure.
But you can see now that they've grown out for a number of years, they're much bigger trees.
Okay.
And this is probably more the older style planting density.
Yeah.
Probably the trees would allow them to get taller.
Taller.
Commercial farms.
Okay.
Whereas this 6x4 is probably where newer plantings are being established.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit wider, maybe 7 meters between rows.
7 meters between
just
rows.
because of machinery
Yes.
access. And people have still got very big tractors, and
Yes.
they have this idea to have a lot more light in
Yeah.
the orchard. But
That's the biggest thing we're probably trying to get around, is people have bought these big, very expensive machines.
Yes.
So it takes a long time before they're willing to buy a newer,
New-
smaller tractor that'll fit between narrower rows.
Yeah.
And even in the system here at the high density, the staff here, you know, they're used to dealing with strange research setups and things like that, and they even sometimes struggle with the tighter rows and that sort of stuff with their existing machinery.
I guess even when you look at this one here, we still struggle a bit with digger. With mangoes. I was just looking at some of these branches here, because this was only pruned. So we harvested here January, February,
Sure.
and then with arranged pruning. I'm just looking at some of the branches here. Yeah, you get. I mean, that's just one growth unit there.
Yeah.
I see a couple of them got 2 or 3.
Yeah, some
Sure.
growth units flushed 2 or 3 times.
So that's
Sure.
only 2 months growth.
Okay.
And that's the problem. If another flush, or you get these rows can get very tight,
Yeah.
and it gets hard to get access because the fruit will be on the outside. And
Sure.
Because of some reasons.
So which one is the most, it's not a really Punjab, but it is considered as a Punjab.
Okay.
Yeah, but we have a very nice, mangoes are very nice from there. You will never,
sort of in the centre, a little bit to the north.
yes.
And then you've got the Sindh, which is the bottom section of Pakistan, which is quite a bit hotter down there.
Yeah, I'm just making a videos as well as we go through, so hope you don't.
So those
mind
mangoes
it.
on the left,
Yeah.
that's probably more like what you see in Pakistan.
Yes.
Really big one.
Yes. Jeff, actually, my brother is there, me and my brother, we started an orchard. That was one of the first orchards, like
That's where you see that one.
small tree system ones. 1,300 plants in per acre. That was the first one. And he told me, he said that this is a new technology, see that. And I said, no, it's, he said, just look in. And when I look in Australia, every second orchard was like that. And I say, do it right now. Don't wait for a minute. So that's what we started there. One of the first. There is a 2, 3. People are still confused about those orchards. That they say it might work or might not work, and really they knew you guys. They knew what's his name?
Ian Valley?
Ian Valley. They know Ian Valley. Actually, one of the ladies, she was saying that she write some documents for Ian Valley. She was that his paper, research paper. She has right terminology and
Okay.
Yes.
So this trial here, we'll stop just up here. I just noticed that some of our team are up here, and I think they're actually doing some of the branch bending. So it might be interesting to see.
Yeah.
So this trial is looking at 3 different varieties,
Yeah.
but we're actually comparing different planting densities and different management styles. So we'll hop out of the car and take a look.
It's just been pruned today.
Okay.
So we had that big hedging machine with the
Yes.
spinning blades.
Okay.
That's come in here this morning.
Mm-hmm.
They've marked that line. So that's
Yes.
for the
Okay.
for the lateral, and
Yeah.
they've done they've done the tops as well.
Sure,
The
sure.
tops, so-
Sure.
And now the team is just coming in and doing
Yeah.
a bit of tidy up pruning
Yeah,
by hand to lift the skirts.
yeah, yeah.
And
Okay,
maybe some dead branches in the middle as well.
so it's like you have to have a little bit because it's different from mangoes, that you have to have a little bit of a high from the normal ground level, right?
That's
These-
right. Because the biggest concern for growing avocados
Yeah,
is waterlogging
waterlogging.
and a disease called Phytophthora root rot,
Okay,
which gets, if any of the roots get any sort of poor drainage or water logging,
yeah,
they get this disease called Phytophthora, and it will kill the tree
okay,
or make the trees very sick. So
okay.
when you're growing avocados, you have to maintain that good drainage at all
Drainage
times.
all the time.
So its first selection is soil.
Soil.
So you get a nice, well-drained soil if you can. If you have some sort of drainage issues, then you have to create mounds, and
Okay,
that's what we've got here as well.
sure.
And
Put organic matter on the top.
Okay,
In
yeah,
this case, they've done hay or
so this is hay.
yeah.
That's hay mulch. So
Mulching, yeah.
we do that every year.
Mm-hmm.
We apply mulch.
Yeah.
So that'll happen again probably in the next 4 weeks. 8
Okay.
weeks.
Once a year or twice a year?
Once a year.
Once a year.
It'll be pretty thick. It'll probably be about that thick.
Okay, okay. Mm-hmm. So it would be like at least half.
At least 10 centimeters.
10 centimeters. Okay.
Yeah, so
From
it's quite a heavy mulch layer,
mulch.
and it is expensive. I mean, you can cut the grass
Yeah,
from the interrow, and either the slasher throws it in,
yeah,
or people can put it in if you're in
yeah,
Pakistan.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But otherwise, they tend to get hay bales
Okay.
and have a machine that spreads the hay.
Oh, yes, 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 yes,
Some
yes.
avocado for your toast this morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
And every year you have that, and it has to be all the time. Something is on the plant all the
The
time.
mulch.
Mulching is
Yeah,
always
yeah.
be
Well, if you
there.
put it there for 1 year, it tends. This is 1 year old mulch,
Okay, okay,
so it's starting to get a bit thin.
Sure.
And that's okay,
sure,
but it's due to be reapplied.
sure.
And the reason the mulch is there
Yeah,
is that the disease Phytophthora, which you would have in Pakistan, it's across the world,
okay,
it doesn't survive well with mulch.
okay.
So all the microorganisms that break down mulch,
Yeah,
they actually outcompete the Phytophthora disease and actually suppress it.
yeah.
So it's just a really good natural way to control the disease by having mulch.
Okay, sure.
So it's a really good option for your avocados. if you do
Sure.
it too.
So is it, this is the old orchard, like what is the plant to plant between, do you have different trials for that?
This is the only avocado trial we have at Walkerman,
Okay,
but this is actually quite similar to what commercial growers would do.
okay,
So this is about 9 years old.
yeah,
They would probably let the trees grow a bit taller
okay, okay,
because they have cherry pickers. They
Sure.
do a lot of cherry picking
Yeah.
with avocados.
yeah,
And they would just be bigger trees. But because there's a research trial, we're keeping them a bit shorter.
sure. And what is the plant to plant distance in this one? It look like to me,
I can't quite remember it because it's not a basic trial.
yeah,
They do get one.
7 meters.
7 meters and tree to tree? 7 to 7?
It's about 7 meters.
Yeah, 7 to 7 meters, right? Okay, okay, cool. So,
But probably commercial orchards are a bit wider. Because the
Okay.
trees can go very tall. They go
okay,
5-6 meter tall.
okay, fine, okay. So, and the tree height should be 5 meters, 4 meters, right?
Depends on what you're chasing and what variety. I guess you're planting most likely Hass in Pakistan.
Well, we don't have a grafted one yet.
Yeah. Hass is the most popular worldwide.
Okay, has. Oh, yeah.
And it has a lumpy skin.
Yes.
These are called green skin.
Yeah.
But there is a few other varieties out there.
Yeah.
And sometimes the green skin are better suited to the tropical conditions.
Sure.
So this shepherd is suited better to tropics, whereas Hass is more subtropical.
Subtropical,
But we do grow
yeah.
Hass more towards the south,
Yeah.
like Atherton, which is only 20 kilometres away, Hass is okay there. It's
Yeah.
high altitude.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
but, yeah, they're quite a they've been quite a lucrative, very good prices for avocados.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah. In Pakistan.
Planting densities here.
Yeah.
So our highest density, which is this,
Yeah.
the trellis and untrellis stuff further along.
Sure. Which trellis it is?
So this is just a sort of a standard style trellis. It's not like a tartare or anything like that.
Okay. Okay.
But we've got a couple of different things we've trialed over the years. We've looked at Espalier, which is our